It is the Black Knights versus the Midshipmen. West Point versus Annapolis. Army versus Navy, in
You
other
know what
words.
we're talking about. The legendary college football rivalry game has been played 118 times. The Navy Midshipmen of the United States Naval Academy of Annapolis, Maryland, have won the game 60 times, while the Army Black Knights of the United States Military Academy at West Point, New York, have won. You okay? You got something caught in your throat there? Have won the game 51 times. The two teams have tied 7 times.
To help us preview tomorrow's contest, we've got Rich DeMarco, Army's play-by-play announcer, and Pete Medhurst, Navy's play-by-play announcer. Good to see you guys.
Thanks for having us, Vlad and Emery.
Great to be with you.
All right, so tomorrow is the 119th meeting between these two teams. Army is looking to win a 3rd straight game against Navy, so let's start with them. How have they looked this season?
Well, it's been 9 wins for Army, going for what would be a 2nd straight 10-win season, only the 3rd in Academy history, if you could believe that. And really, everything's come together. Jeff Monken took over as head coach for the 2014 season. It has just steadily built, improving the talent. X's and O's have taken a big jump up, and after many years of coming close against Navy, that 14-year streak for the Mids finally came to an end in 2016. Army able to catch those breaks you get with the little things being able to do, and 3rd down efficiency, 4th down efficiency, red zone efficiency, and eating up the clock and time of possession, and that's really been the keys for Army this year.
So then what about Navy? How's Navy looking this season?
Well, Emery, obviously record-wise, not as good as previous years. Navy's only missed a bowl game 1 time since 2002. This year will be the 2nd time, but also at the same time, Navy's played tremendous competition as a member of the American Athletic Conference. They've played 2 undefeated teams in Notre Dame and Central Florida, both who are inside the top 10. The Fighting Irish, of course, going to be a team in the playoffs. So from that standpoint, you know, as Rich mentioned, the things that has helped Army win more games and win the last couple of games in this rivalry, those little detailed things, those are the things that Navy hasn't done for the first time in a long time here in Annapolis this season. And as we know, in a sport which is so hotly contested and so close on many Saturday afternoons, that's been the difference for Navy between, 3 and 9 coming into this game, as opposed to, say, maybe 6 and 6 coming into this game.
If Navy somehow does manage to pull off a win, perish the thought, they will have to share the Commander-in-Chief's trophy with Army and Air Force. Explain to our viewers why that is.
Well, it's a 3-team round-robin tournament, so each team plays each other. So each team has 2 games in, I guess, this mini-conference, this mini-season. So by virtue of Air Force beating Navy, they picked up a win. Army defeated Air Force. So Air Force is, in the clubhouse, you would say it 1-1. Army 1-0. The worst they could do is 1-1. The best Navy can do, because they're 0-1 after the loss to Air Force, is 1-1. So a Navy win would force a 3-way tie, each team winning a game and losing a game. Meanwhile, an Army win would make them the 2-0 team out of the 3, so they would win the trophy for the 2nd straight year.
So, we can't let you go without asking for your predictions.
Pete will go first.
Yeah, I've always asked this that all morning long. Now, if you expect me to sit here and say Army's going to win the football game, then I'm not representing my institution. Same thing for Rich. But the one thing that, as we've said all morning long, we can guarantee, if you look at the results in this game, it certainly proves out all the time. These are very close football games. And as Rich said earlier, the little details really tell the difference in this game. So from that standpoint, last year, Navy lost this game literally by 6 inches. The same scenario could present itself this year, and Ken Niumatalolo, the Navy coach, said he would do the exact same thing. Send Bennett Mooring out there to try a kick again and fully believe that his kicker could get the job done. But these games have been extremely, extremely close through the years.
And I'll make my one prediction, which I've said all morning, is someone who, if you follow Army and Navy, you might not think of, is going to end up making a pivotal play in tomorrow's game.
That's great.
Yeah.
Can I point out that it's been lovely listening to both of your voices?
Yes, it has been. Yeah,
because you hear play-by-play, but you're just talking to us normally, and I'm like, you know what you guys should do? You guys should do play-by-play. You have perfect voices for that.
Melodic voices.
Yeah.
Anne-Marie, you're hired as our agent. Thank you.
You can start Monday. Thanks for the kind words.
Hey, I tell you who's going to win.
Yes.
Always Philly always wins. Whenever
what are you talking about?
No, but I'll tell you why. Because you know what? I live in Philadelphia, guys. So it's always like a great weekend, right? All these men and women who serve our country, and they just sort of flood into the city, and it's just great for the city. The city really appreciates it.
It is, and that's a good point. And I love the tradition of this game. My roommate, when I was in college, he was in the Marine Corps. We were both officer candidates. I was in Army ROTC, and I get texts from him now still about this game every year when it's played, and we sort of have that great friendly rivalry between us. And it's just interesting to me because at one point in this country, this was the game of the college football season, and it probably doesn't have the same high profile as it did 20 or 30 years ago, but it's still such an important and wonderful tradition.
Well, yeah, there's no doubt. I think the fact that it's now been pushed back to a standalone weekend all its own, as Anne-Marie mentioned, the city of Philadelphia does a tremendous job hosting this game. All of your hotel rooms are really approximate nicely to the facility that they're going to play at. And obviously the presenting sponsor, USAA, and the city of Philadelphia working together to put on a tremendous show coming up on Saturday, where everybody on TV will see the finished product. But as Anne-Marie alluded to, the entire weekend here in Philadelphia is a very festive occasion. And really, in some cases, Rich mentioned earlier this morning, he's right, it's a lot of reunions for a lot of Army and Navy folks all together.
And Vladimir, like you mentioned, being an Army officer candidate, your roommate, a Marine, there's so many people, you don't have to have gone to these academies, that care about this game.
That's right.
Everyone has either served, has gone to the academy, or knows someone. There's a family member, a friend, so they can pick a side in this game. And I think in a lot of rivalry games, our big rivalry games, there's a lot of folks that don't have any attachment, that just watch it for the entertainment value. But this is a game, really, where every person has a connection to either Army or Navy or even both.
True. Rich and Pete, thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can watch the Army-Navy game tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern on CBS.